Disney's latest film that will be released at the end of the year just dropped its teaser trailer. Strange World is definitely an interesting premise, but since the trailer dropped, there's been quite a bit of back and forth online, including on Reddit, YouTube, and blogs about the film's story, art style, design, and premise. So we figured we'd want to give our thoughts as well. Or rather, tell you what we think of other people's thoughts. I'm Caleb with Wicked Binge, and these are Disney's Strange World opinions we love and hate. Let's get started. The old school sci-fi style is pretty cool. The name of the movie, Strange World, definitely evolves the old school pulp magazines, which, for those of you who don't know, were really bizarre and unique stories about explorers and various adventures, oftentimes in space and other sci-fi settings. Strange World's teaser even opens with the old sci-fi faux movie style, complete with huge on-screen text and over-the-top old-timey voiceover.
Unlike anything you've ever seen.
The entire vibe seems to stem from the 1950s and even a bit earlier. Strange World's poster is even reminiscent of old-school sci-fi and pulp-style artwork, right down to the font and tagline. The official synopsis for this film fits this style as well. It reads, "The original action-adventure journeys deep into an uncharted and treacherous land where fantastical creatures await the legendary Clades, a family of explorers whose differences threaten to topple their latest and by far most crucial mission." Now, we are going to be a bit critical of some of the movie's other style and design choices, but as far as the genre goes, we like it. It looks like a fun genre for Disney to dive into, so we'll say that we do agree with this opinion, because we think this style is pretty cool. So although its setting is unique, it definitely seems that it's at least trying to create that same style of adventure that Atlantis and Treasure Planet had. It's still too early to tell how successful this attempt will be, but we do agree that we see the similarities with the two more cult classic Disney animated films. Strange World gives off Atlantis and Treasure Planet vibes. Two of Disney's most underrated and oftentimes forgotten films were Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet. So Disney has made attempts in the past to make the pulp genre happen, though it hasn't had the box office success it desired. Strange World's teaser, which gives a mid-century B-movie vibe, kind of fits into this style as well, especially with the narrator proclaiming, "Prepare yourselves for a journey beyond what is possible." So although its setting is unique, it definitely seems that it's at least trying to create that same style of adventure that Atlantis and Treasure Planet had. It's still too early to tell how successful this attempt will be, but we do agree that we see the similarities with the two more cult classic Disney animated films. The trailer gives off strong No Man's Sky vibes. Oh man, this was something that popped into our heads immediately upon watching the trailer, and it's kind of hard to deny. For those who don't know, No Man's Sky was a video game that released back in 2016, with a lot of issues to say the least. It was an open world game that was all about exploration and survival and was marketed as quite revolutionary. But when it came out, it, well, wasn't. And it's hard to deny that Strange World looks a lot like the style of No Man's Sky. The setting and environment is an obvious example of that comparison, but even the color palette they chose is nearly identical to No Man's Sky. The space exploration and theme of discovering a new world in space fits the bill as well. That's not to say that Strange World will flop like No Man's Sky did, but the resemblance is pretty uncanny. So it goes without saying that we absolutely agree with those who are making this comparison. This character animation style is tiresome. One of the most common criticisms we've seen on Reddit is that the character designs in Strange World are kind of bland and boring. Many say that this style has been overdone recently by Disney Animation and that it's downright goofy and ugly. And we have to admit that this isn't totally untrue. The oversized noses and facial features seem comical, although this could very well be the intention. That said, others pointed out that these sort of standards, bland characters do kind of contrast interestingly with such a weird and interesting world. Still, we have to agree with this opinion because we too are kind of tired of the style. Obviously, this all comes down to opinion, but many of us are not fans of it and think it's time to get a little more creative with character designs. Disney is trying to ride the Lightyear hype train. Pixar's Lightyear, which comes out at the end of this month, is one of the most highly anticipated animated films. It's obviously a movie that already has a strong following built in, due to it being an offshoot of the Buzz Lightyear characters from the widely popular Toy Story franchise.
To infinity
and beyond.
But the setting is obviously somewhat similar, at least on the most surface level. There is a possibility that Disney is hoping to ride the waves that are created by Lightyear with a follow-up film in the same genre and setting, taking place in space and focused on a grand adventure of exploration, which certainly makes sense. That being said, beyond the whole space setting, we really don't see all too much similarities between Strange World and Lightyear. Could it be possible? I guess, but it's unlikely Disney chose to create their major 2022 feature animated film simply on another story created by Pixar. So, although we see the comparison, we have to disagree with this opinion. This movie will make a cool concept for a Disney World attraction. Regardless of some of the other criticism we presented, I think it goes without saying that Strange World's environment is really interesting. Yeah, the color palette seems to be very No Man's Sky-ish, and we don't love the character designs, but the world is pretty cool, and it's clearly very immersive and grandiose. Whether or not it makes for an awesome movie is still up for debate, but it's definitely something that would make an interesting ride or attraction at a theme park. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's trippy. Who wouldn't want to experience this in person down at Disney World? So, we'll say that we definitely agree with this opinion, and maybe if the movie does well, it will eventually be made into one. That said, unfortunately, one of the prevailing opinions on Strange World is also, the movie will bomb at the box office. We won't say that this trailer is being universally hated or anything, but it certainly seems to have way more criticism than most major Disney animated movies. Now, it's way too early to tell based on just a teaser trailer, but that early criticism could very well be an indicator of the film's success. Granted, a full trailer could flip things around and change everybody's mind, but as of right now, the quality is still kind of uncertain. But more importantly, there's another factor that goes into this opinion as well, and that is the fact that Disney has a very poor track record for adventure films. Depending on how loosely you define the genre, but movies like Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet, although called classic by today's standards with a lot of fans, performed really poorly in theaters when they were released. It seems like this movie is being made outside of Disney Animation's comfort zone, which leaves the doors open to really blow our minds or totally flop. Not to mention the fact it's going to release around the same time as Avatar 2, which might totally eat up its audience in the theaters. And lastly, although this is just an opinion by some, the director of Stranger World is the director from Raya and the Last Dragon, which is not the strongest recent film in Disney's library. When you put all of these factors together, there is definitely a chance that Stranger World isn't the most well-received movie of the year. So, we're going to optimistically say that we have mixed feelings about this opinion, because we do understand these variables and can't really deny them. But it's still way too early to tell, and just because prior movies in this genre haven't done well, doesn't mean this one has the same destiny. We'll have to wait and see. But perhaps we're being a little too hard on Strange World. It's still too early to tell, and it is a Disney animated movie after all. What do you think of the teaser trailer? Do you have high hopes for the movie? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell and binge our other Disney videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.